felt like I could have probably done pretty good in selling cars.
I'd be like, no, man, retired, man. I'm retired.
Welcome
I
back.
just work over there because I'm bored.
Welcome back to the Luling Eagles Sports Broadcast. It's 5 o'clock now here. 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock here. And at Still Chevrolet in Luling, Texas. So I did want to thank Ryan McLaughlin and Josh Crouch and Griselda. I don't know what Griselda's last name is. I got to check with her. All the folks here at Still Chevrolet for letting me come do all these interviews today for all those 5 Watermelon Thump Queen candidates. And while we were waiting for our next guest to arrive, I went ahead and shared all those out there on Facebook and on our X account, which we have, which is at Luling Eagles SB. So if y'all know of anybody that didn't get to see the videos when I did them live and they might want to watch them, just direct them out there. You know, either the Facebook if they have a Facebook account, or if they have an X account, they can go out there and watch them there as well. Or on YouTube. You go on any one of those places and at Luling Eagles Sports Broadcast on YouTube, so they can watch any of those when they are ready to. Just watch them over and over if they want to. So our next guest we have here is he's a very familiar face here. You know, this is the Luling Eagles Sports Broadcast, so we got to have some Luling Eagles flavor. I feel like we have to have at least one interview every year of that nature. And, of course, we have our head coach, athletic director, Jeremiah Granado. He's here with us again. So, Coach, thank you for joining LASB as always. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Appreciate y'all having me and
yes, sir.
Setting this up. This is awesome.
Yes, sir.
Especially for our Thump candidates, you know.
Yes, sir. It sure is. It's very nice of them to open their doors to us and let us come do these interviews, because we did them in other places in the past, and then they went out of business, and so we had looking for a place to go. And I asked Ryan, he's the general manager here, Ryan McLaughlin, and he said, "Yeah, sure, come and do your interviews here. We got a desk." The whole setup here, like you said, you were saying when you first came on, that a nice little desk here for us. So, and number one is still here, by the way. Don't fret, Fino, he's still there. We're gonna both be asking Coach Granado some questions. So let me go ahead and get started. I was writing some things down that I wanted to ask you when you got here, and so I know that one of the things that I always like to ask you about when we're getting ready to go into a new school year is a new coaching staff that you got coming on. And you said you didn't have as much turnover this year. You and I were talking here about a month or so ago, but you do have a couple of new coaches. So you want to go ahead and talk about who you have coming on and what their responsibility is going to be?
Yeah, and before I start, man, I just want to. There was a big question on why I didn't allow 6th graders to come to summer strength, and it was just because the numbers have grown over. When I first started in the summer, and y'all may not believe me, I think I had 8 girls, I had 9 junior high kids, and I had 12 high school boys.
You remember, I've been there.
I remember that, and now the numbers are about 40 apiece.
Wow,
and so it's like we just couldn't hold. We don't have the facility, man, but I'd love to have them, if we could. And just if you did it, you having to space it out more, and then
right.
And it just got to where I'd still want coaches to feel like they got a summer. Because
Yes,
I make them
yes,
work,
sir.
and there's no extra pay. There's no extra.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
I don't want to be one of those schools that gets to where they start charging people and stuff like that. And so we just kind of had to, you got to cut something, and that was one of the areas. But new coaches, so man, I didn't have a whole lot of turnover, and that's always awesome.
Yes, sir.
I know Miss Crone had the baby, and so she kind of wanted to take out, and so we were able to get a lady. And so our head volleyball coach is going to be Gabrielle and Martinez.
Okay.
I'd say Martins, but it's Martinez.
Okay. It just felt like
we had to remember.
Yeah, and so I had to do. This time around, we kind of learned a lesson, and we just. The longer you do something, the more invested you are, and so we kind of did some investigating. Me and Coach Harrell, we started watching and researching and calling people, and I really think we got a good one, and I think the girls are happy, and
Yes,
because my deal was if we're making the playoffs in volleyball, soccer, we're making the playoffs in softball, we're making the playoffs in basketball. Well, it's the same athletes.
Right, exactly.
What needs to change
Yes,
volleyball wise? And so we really went through a ton of candidates. and finally got one, and we think she's going to be really good. And I know the girls like her, and so, but she comes from. I think she played in Tennessee, played
Okay.
volleyball in Tennessee at the collegiate level, and then did some stuff, and then was finishing up at Texas State, stuff like that. And
Okay.
so, she's going to be a really great addition. And then she'll do be our head volleyball. She'll be our track coach. She'll be
Okay.
one of our
Okay.
track coaches. Okay, and then we hired Rolando Garza.
Right.
And Rolando, here's what's crazy is, man, I've tried to get him for 3 years. Yeah. So the first year, I tried to get him, and Mavis at Lockhart was like, hey, and I love Mavis. He was awesome, man. And Mavis at Lockhart, they got a little bit better pay scale, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
Yes, sir.
so he ended up going to Lockhart, and then I called him after Lockhart, and then somebody offered him at Westwood. And then I was, I think we kind of got to the same place where like, dude, look, this is it. I'm not calling you again. I'm not gonna ask you again. Either you're gonna jump on this,
or we're done.
Like,
What position coach did?
so he's gonna end up being our defensive coordinator. So he does a lot of the DB stuff, and but we still retain, like, Bermuda's just gonna be big part of that defense. Munoz, or not Munoz, Ordonez. They're cousins, and I sometimes and Ordonez will kind of be a big part of that, and then Moreno, of course, will be a big part of that, and so it's going to be a real good staff defensively, and we hired a guy out of Seguin.
Okay.
His name's Wiley Crawford.
Okay.
That kind of knew Rolando and knew what Rolando was trying to do, and so those are pretty much. We hired a guy named Mr. Weeks.
Okay.
And he's going to kind of help with tennis and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so there wasn't a lot of. And here's what's crazy is I remember the first year I walked in and 9 of them quit on me.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I remember the next year it was 6 of them went in there and quit on me.
Yeah.
And so now it's just so like it's going down and going down and going.
Right,
you just see the progress, man, and a lot of that is a testament to our kids, man. We kind of put this culture in where they represent us well.
Yes, sir.
You don't see any.
Yes, sir.
You very rarely see any more like personal files or
Yes, sir.
just the misconduct, and shout out to a lot of those leaders, man, that stepped up and. Jose Almanza and Felipe, if you know those two guys, man, they've stepped up in a ginormous way.
And Coach Granado, since you brought that up, what kind of goes in? This is going to be your 3rd year, right?
Third
with
year,
us.
yes,
okay, so what kind of goes into, because I've heard different things from different coaches, like some, that they kind of like to stick with, like you being the head coach, and like they like to stick with the head coach, when they go along. And then there's others, like you said, that don't mind who the head coach is, or athletic director. They go work for that person. Just kind of, can you talk a little bit about what kind of goes into that, kind of thought process for some of these gals and guys? Well,
I think the longer you have a head coach, the more rewards you see, right? And because when I got here, the mindset in the kid, and I'm just talking like the kids' mindset was like, why should I invest so much? You're going to be gone in a year anyway.
Right.
They were doing that for every sport. It wasn't just football. They were doing that for every sport. You're going to be gone in a year anyway. You're going to be gone in a year anyway.
I remember hearing the kids say that in
and
class.
you see what I'm saying? And so it was always that, like, well, nobody invests in us. Nobody stays here for us. And so and we finally got a great staff to where they're all invested. And I try to look for people that want to invest in the community and want to be a part of the community and have ties sometimes to the community.
I remember the kids in class would say, "Why get close to him? He's gonna leave me." So there's no reason for me to try to get close to coach or whoever he had, and it would be he's gonna go bye a year or two and leave us here. So why?
Let me bring this up too, because this is a good time to do it. I talked to Coach Granado, and I talked to you earlier in the year about a friend of mine, Colonel Craig Flowers, and what Colonel Flowers, he's retired now, so he prefers retired Colonel Flowers, but he always says they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I mean, I think that's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
a
mean, that's
testament to
kind of like
that.
what you said. Yeah. So and then so too, I did want to ask you too about I think everyone knows by now that you got new districts coming in the fall for all the sports, and let's just be honest, they didn't do you any favors
Mhm.
by what the districts they put you in for all the sports. I just say not just football, but all the sports. You know. From top to bottom, and I mean, just talk a little bit about that. And then I know I'd asked you when it first came out. You mentioned, you just got to play with the hand you're dealt, so to speak, and just do the best you can.
And I try to preach to like our kid. You can't. Okay, so I always give them the story like growing up. Like I grew up in foster care, right, and so it kind of had to go from home to home. And I always tell them like, man, I never ran from anything because there was nowhere to go. And it's kind of the same situation. Like there's no running from anything. You get what you get, and you play what you play, and you give it what you got. And at the end of the day, if you can sit there and say, like, man, I gave it everything I had, and now there's things that coaches like us can do to help. And some of that is just minimizing all the things you're trying to do. Like if
Yes,
we
sir.
could just narrow it down to like several things, you doing all right? If we could narrow it down, just several things that we need to do to be great at,
Yes,
instead of
sir.
trying to be good at 100 things, let's just get great at five,
Right, exactly. Yes, sir.
man, and be great at what we do. And so, but it's interesting because, we're going to be the smallest. I think
Yes, sir.
us and Hallettsville are
Yes,
in the
sir.
300s. Everybody else is in the five.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but it's also interesting because Cole, they've been kind of up and down, and I think lately, I think they've had a lot of kids go basketball, right?
Yes, sir.
Randolph just lost their head coach,
Okay.
so I don't know. I didn't even hear if they got a new one. I don't know who it would have been.
Okay.
Smithfield struggled, but they were at the 4A level.
Mhm.
They came down, so you don't know.
Right.
Yoakum, of course, is Yoakum, man.
Right.
They're gonna be.
Yes.
They're
They're
gonna
the
be
defending
fast.
3A Division One
Yeah,
state champion. Yeah. Right.
even they run that title, and the people they went through to get that title
Right. Right.
is,
Yeah.
is unreal as well. And then Hallettsville. I'm gonna tell you this, and a lot of people sleep on Hallettsville. If you go look at who they played, man, they played like Shiner, Tidehaven.
Right.
Man, they were playing Yoakum. I think Columbus was one of them. I mean, they were playing schools. So the record really doesn't justify who they really are.
Right.
I think they could be a real contender.
Right.
We come full circle because when I went to school here in the 70s and 80s, Hattiesville was in our district. Now they come back around.
Yeah.
Being in our
Right.
district.
And this is what I will say about this district is I love it better than the other one. And here's why. Every game's within 45 minutes. So it allows our parents and our community to be able to
Right.
go
Right.
to
Yes, sir.
all these games.
Yes, sir.
Yoakum's not far.
No.
Hallettsville's not far.
Right.
Smithfield ain't far. They're all within driving. There's no 3-hour game anymore.
Right.
There's,
Exactly.
There's no going to Lano. We're having to leave at noon. And
Yeah,
get
right,
back at 2
exactly.
2 p.m. 2 a.m.
And on school you're missing and everything else.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of there's a lot of positive in this new district. But it'll be interesting to see what unfolds.
Yes, sir. And then I didn't, actually I wasn't aware. Fino was saying that y'all did a pretty good job on social media of promoting this, but I have to be honest. I guess I don't know if I was asleep or what, but I just didn't see it until the Booster Club. Shout out to the Luling Eagle Athletic Booster Club had posted they were going to be selling tacos with the lineman challenge you were having a week ago today. And so, can you talk a little bit about that? And it was nice for me to see some folks that I knew. Of course, not Luling, well, they're from Luling, but the Lyndon Hamilton, which is the AD and head football coach now, Gonzalez, and then of course Cliff Hill. I saw him as well, and so it was good to see those folks. And I know you had some other schools that came down there as well. So can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah, and talking about the Booster Club, man, there isn't enough praise to give to the old regime, which was Laura Murray,
right,
and Keith Conley, and
right.
Cho, and that group, man, they did a phenomenal job. And I don't know that we could have been and done as much as we did without them, man.
Right.
They were a big part of like the renovating of the gym. They were a big part of like renovating, getting the scoreboards and making us look good, and Man, so they're just a huge thank you to those people, and then a huge thank you to the Estradas and the Van Wings and the people who
Right.
stepped up, because for a while it was like,
Yes, sir.
all right,
It was, yeah. Yeah.
all
It was
right,
a kind of a limbo.
you know, and
As limbo as limbo can get.
yeah, it kind of got in a situation where you were like, all right, man, am I gonna have to worry about
Right, yes, sir.
getting workers?
Right at crossroads, basically. Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes,
and
yeah.
so just super thankful that these people stepped up, but super thankful for Murray and Connolly and all them and
Right.
Joe, who didn't even have kids in the
Right,
program.
exactly.
You know,
Yes.
wanted to do it out of the kindness of their heart,
Yes, sir.
man, and we're just super thankful for all
That sounds
them.
familiar. Right, Vito? We kind of do that kind of thing too. We don't have kids in the program either, but
And it's
you know,
just,
but we're here, you know, so.
but it's just so rewarding to these kids to see that, you know, more people care about them, you know, and we tell them all the time, man, that when you leave, understand who you represent, and it is a lot of folks that do a lot of things for you, and just one bad mistake could lead to us not being able to eat on Friday
Right,
night.
yes, sir.
You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
So make
Yes,
sure
sir.
you just don't think
For
about
sure.
just you. But yeah, so we do a 7-on-7. We did a lineman challenge. We do a 7-on-7. So the idea behind it is just to get our kids active in the summer.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
and
Right.
not just sitting at home. You know, and a lot of them do work. So I'm not
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
knocking the
Right.
ones
Yes,
that
sir.
work.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
go make money.
Yes, sir.
Go do
Right.
that. You know, that is your time to do that.
Yes, sir.
Because there's some that will work, man, but when football's here, football's here. And,
Correct.
And I'll give
Yes,
you
sir.
the prime example. If y'all don't remember Jadis Hanks,
Right.
Jadis Hanks, I don't think I saw a day in the summer. And then he comes in one day and he tells me, Coach, you're going to be upset. And I said, Jadis, what are you going to tell me? He goes, we're going on a cruise. And it's during 2 days. Hey, but when we get back, listen, Coach, I'm locked in. And he never missed a day of practice.
Okay.
And he ended up being like first team all district. He was,
Yes, sir.
and he had a couple offers to go, you know, do what he
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to do. He was a phenomenal athlete. But anyway, so like a lot of those kids, we don't discourage them from working or discourage them from going
Yes,
to
sir.
do things and
Yes, sir.
enjoying. We want them to have a summer, man. And
Yes, sir.
but like we want them doing things. And we were so tired of us traveling.
Yes, sir. Right.
Like I get tired of having to go to LaGrange and then go into San Antonio, Cole, and then having to go to Marion and having to go. Like it's time that people start coming to our stuff, and so we started hosting stuff, and we did the 2 lineman challenges. I think Gonzalez came, Stockdale came, Nixon came, and then it was us. I think we had a late cancel from Navarro. But,
Okay.
but we had 5 schools going to be invested to come, and so we held that challenge, man, and it ended up fun. Like,
Yes, sir.
you know, instead of giving like an award, City Market, shout out to Joey and Joe.
Okay.
And all
Yeah.
that, man.
And they're a sponsor of ours. Yeah.
Huge.
Yes. Correct.
I go in there and I'm like, man, we're not going to give these guys plaques because that goes in the coach's office.
Right.
We're going to give these guys a rack of ribs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Wow.
I saw the pictures of it. I'm like,
Yeah, well, you need to send them to me. I didn't see those. Yeah, but I'd like to see them. But
yeah, so
I was sitting there looking at you like,
yeah, man, and it was just so fun. It was, man, and I'll tell you what it really showed is we do this strength. Coach Moreno does this strength deal in the summer where it kind of changes up the workout to test new parts of the body, man, and it's a burner. Like
wow.
And some of them were complaining, you know how kids are.
Yes, sir.
It's just a lot of work, man. What are we doing? You know, and I think there they showed why you do that. Like they dominated at that lineman challenge, and then we did the 7-on-7. We do that every Tuesday, so we'll have one on this Tuesday, and then we'll skip a week, and then we'll have one more.
So are you doing that at the field, Coach?
We do that here. Yeah,
All right.
we do that here as well. So
what's the time on that?
We start at 3, and
Okay.
we'll go till we get done. So we'll do 30-minute. We'll do 15-minute halves, so 30-minute games.
Okay.
And then 5-minute break, and then boom, next one.
Okay. All right. Do you have? I guess so. You have more than one game. You have.
Oh, you have. We like yesterday. Or the last one, you end up having 4 games. Three or 4 games. One team will end up with 4. Everybody else will end up with 3 because there's an odd number. But yeah, so we'll play, and it's so good because we're young at the quarterback spot. You know, Dallas Jeans and Evan Euchre, and so we're real young there, so it's good for them to see like coverages and start reading coverages, and you could see the time lapse. So when we first did it, you saw, oh man, they didn't read it very well, and then they spent. Man, and shout out to those guys because they're really invested in trying to be successful. And so the next time you saw several touchdowns being thrown and deep balls, and so it was exciting for them. And they'll be a big part of the run game too. So
Yes, sir.
It was a big for them, and I think it's big for all of our kids, especially when you're like installing a new defense, like how to read coverages, how to switch off on people and stuff like that. So it's really.
And I know you said you got Coach Garza coming in, so
yeah.
And he's a fairly young gentleman too. I've met him, and so I think he'll relate well to those kids. It's me personally, just from the short time I've interacted with him.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's good because. I don't ever care about like how old somebody is. It's like, are you gonna do the work?
Right.
Because there's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of film, a lot of breaking down and stuff. And I want that guy, like, who's gonna work more?
Right.
Because you can know a lot.
Yeah.
And then not willing to change what you know. Kids don't learn the same.
Right. Yes, sir.
You got to change it what you learn, and then you got kids that learn it faster than other kids.
Which
and
is
how
what
do
we have
you?
in class? In class, is the same way.
And that's why they have plans and stuff like that. So I mean, it was kind of one of those like, who can we get to basically teach our kids, and when there's a kid that doesn't know it, how are we addressing that?
Yes, sir.
How are, and so I had another one I left off was Katie Royal the other day. Took some snaps, man.
Okay.
He was excited.
Okay. Well, and that's what I was going to ask you about. You beat me to it, and I was going to ask you about the outlook for the varsity. Because I know, like you mentioned, Gary Cantu, of course, graduated and he's going to move on, and
miss him,
you have like you mentioned Dallas Jeans, and you just mentioned Cade, and then Evan Euchre, right? And so I mean, like you said, it's like they're going to be a battle, and I think. You as a coach, you probably want that because you want to, like you said, they bring out the best in each other.
They will,
and so you'll find out who stands out and stuff. But I mean, as far as like outlook, I guess like I don't know how much you know about you kind of mentioned some of the stuff earlier, but like some of these other district teams that we have that, like you said, Smithville and Hallettsville, Yoakum. Of course, like you mentioned, Yoakum is the defending state champion, so they're going to get all the respect that they deserve.
Right.
But like, what about like these other teams? I mean, do you think it might be a realistic chance for the Eagles to qualify for the playoffs in the 2026 season?
I do, and it all depends on us.
Yes, sir.
Right. And I know we don't get that bye week for a long time.
Yes, sir.
I
For
think
sure.
it's week 11.
It's the end of the season, regular season. Anyway.
So what you really got to do, what we really have to do to make that possible is capitalize on these preseason games.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not making excuses, but it was always going to be difficult when we were going into the season and we were playing that 5A, and then we were playing that big school 4A.
Yes, sir.
And then you
Absolutely.
were playing that state champ school Shiner, and then you jump into Llano, and then you jump into you just hit that stretch, and man, it's hard to get any momentum, coming through that. But I think if we can capitalize off these preseason games, be competitive, do what we do, then you're going in with a different attitude than you are, because I don't think there's anybody that I just feel like, because yes, Yoakum is a state champ, but they did graduate 26.
Okay.
Right.
So you'll be competitive.
I think you for sure you can be competitive in all of them. So yeah, there's a realistic chance. Absolutely.
Yes, and so I did want to ask you too, because you had mentioned about those preseason, and I did get the schedule. I think Brad had sent me the schedule. That's what I was looking for, and I'll get it. But I know Throm was one.
Put you on our rooms so you can get all the schedules, man.
Oh yes, sir. That sounds good. We got it here. But you have Throm that is going to be part of that preseason that you mentioned. You got Nixon Smiley again, of course. We had a close game with them last year. Just didn't come out the right way. We started out well, but then just didn't end up very well and ended up losing by 1 point. And then, you got Weimer, and you got, of course, we got YMLA back on the schedule, the San Antonio YMLA. And so, so like you mentioned, I think that's like you said, it's very, to me, those are all very winnable games. I mean, just from what I know, and seeing what I've seen the last few years, I think those are very winnable games. So, I mean, I did want to ask you too about, let's see, what was it that, the scheduling as far as like the days, because I know there's going to be some of the home games that are going to be on Thursday evening. So I know that there was some concerns among some fans about the days of those games, that them being on Thursday rather than on a Friday.
Yeah.
So can you kind of talk about what went into
So
that scheduling?
So a lot of times what you end up with is like officiating, right? And because we kind of ask for the entire crew along with a clock, if needed, a clock operator. So you're needing about 8 to 10 dudes every time. So
Right.
you're asking for more. Well, to guarantee those, you end up having to put those games on a Thursday, right? And so that way, everything would just be pushed up, But we think that it'll end up working out. Like I think it was the first game of the year will be on a Thursday, and
Yes, sir.
then I think Weimer actually was the one that needed the Thursday game this year because I think something for they have an event that falls on a Friday.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that event is.
Yes,
but
sir.
I think they have kind of like a watermelon thump thing.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And it falls on that Friday and they were going to be out of town.
Right.
So it just ended up being one of those where they needed it more than we did, but that next year it would hopefully flip back, so.
Yes, sir. And then I did want to ask you too, because so like you mentioned, off season right now going on, and so when, as far as like a timeline, when do you have like 2-a-days starting up, and then what are you trying? Like I know I have to ask Coach Kenny this when I'm over in San Marcos, Texas State. Where are you trying to get as far as like where you're at now, and then like where do you want to see the team being as far as like maybe by the time those first 2 scrimmages start?
Man, I just want to see them execute, at a high level to where it's not like, right now, nothing's changed. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, defensively, we've changed some things. Yes, I'm not saying that. But offensively and all that, like nothing's changed. They know what they're doing. They should know where they're going. They should know who they're blocking. But they got to get to where they know that consistently, whether it's an odd front, whether it's an even front, whether they come down and bring 5 down, and if I got to go gap down to that backer, or if I got to go play side, they got to just know that where it's just nature, like where
Yes, sir.
like man, I know what I'm doing. All right, we call 4 smash or something like that, or 14 or whatever. They just got to get to where they know it consistently, and I think that is, if we can get to that point where they just know it like the back of their hand, and we got a great O line. Like, and let me tell you something, we're gonna rely heavily on those dudes. You got the 2 dudes I mentioned, Jose Almonte and Felipe Hernandez. Right, those are going to be the 2 pretty much leaders. You got Puckett, man, who's done a phenomenal job. Caden Trishan, you got Walker Powell starting to step up.
Yeah, right.
Man, he is, and he's awesome, man. He's, he seems soft, but when he gets upset, man, watch out. Like, watch out, that dude, he can ball now. Like, you might have to piss him off or make him mad a little bit, but when he wants to ball, like he can go in there and do it. And
yes,
so,
sir.
But then you still have a whole other group, man, that's coming up, like Emmanuel Rubio, and then Andrew Garza, and then you still got Iden, you still got Christian Lamb.
Right?
Yeah, Iden will be a senior, yeah. And we've missed him this summer. He's had some stuff he had to take care of, but there's no doubt in my mind that dude will come back knowing, not forgotten anything, because
Yes, sir.
He's a phenomenal kid. He's exceptional, and but yeah, I mean, when we run through those plays, we run through it with who we got. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And they're getting to where it's like, oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
So, and with Keaton Coe's been running the ball this summer. Bohach. Do you know Bohach?
Yes, right.
Yeah, Bohach thickened up a little bit.
I
Yeah, man.
don't think I've seen him since then.
There's a
Yeah.
couple
He's my
of
neighbor.
them, man.
He's my
They got a
neighbor.
little thick, and that's what you want to see. You want to see that stuff. And shout out to our superintendent and
Right.
Manel Martin, if y'all know
Right.
her. She's our finance.
Yes, right.
And I said, hey, we do all these events, but we're not able to feed them in the summer, like get them stuff. And they
Yes,
were
sir.
able to help us get bars
that's
for
awesome.
these kids
Right,
and
right,
stuff
right.
like that, which just goes a long way,
Yes, sir.
man. Because these kids, they'll live at the school.
Oh, definitely.
Like
Right.
we do the morning stuff. We go from 8:30 till 10:30. We'll do weights, conditioning, football, and then we all go hoop. So they probably burn 2,000, 4,000 calories in that before lunch.
So
So-
you're including you and your coaching staff
Oh,
in that too?
we
Oh, okay.
us and the coaches, we're undefeated. I'm gonna tell you something. Me, I'm not very good, but hey, I can play some defense. But me, Geiger,
Oh.
Chamness, Rolando's not bad. Who did I see the other day? Ordonez and Munoz, they're
Right.
pretty good.
But they're the same age.
Yeah,
So they're young.
Yeah, and you just brought it up. I forgot to, when you were talking about the new coaches, I don't think you mentioned his name, but some of y'all on Facebook might already know Colby Chamness is going to be returning to coaching staff.
Yeah.
Coach Granado's coaching staff. So, and he was one of the most popular coaches when he was here the first time, and then he was gone. He went off to Long Creek there out of New Braunfels, and then now he's back. So, and I'm sure you're very happy to have him back. I know we all are. He's been a big supporter of ours, and so we definitely love having him back for sure.
Is he going back to high school?
Yeah, and me and
Teacher.
Kobe, we would talk quite a bit, and so we'd talk probably once or twice a month, and I'd call him and I'd be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you one opportunity, man. I got an opening. Listen, because I think Kobe kind of wanted to switch roles in what other than basketball. The sports you do other than basketball. Well, it's hard to just immediately do that, because that job's tied to. There's just so many variables that have to happen, and
Yes, sir.
And I'll keep in mind, like before I got here, we there was some coaches that had like 4 sports, like Bermuda's was one of them, Mags was one of them,
Okay.
and man, one of the biggest goals that me and Miss Warren,
Miss Warren. She can be Coach Warren. We don't know.
We wanted to kind of eliminate that and kind of get it back down to where everybody just had 2. So then you invest more,
Right.
Because you're not overlapping. Because if you're doing like basketball and then you're also doing soccer, you're overlapping that sport, and then you're not invested fully into that sport. And so that was one of the goals, was trying to get it back down. And so when I told Chamness that, man, he was ready to come, and so he's going to do football. He's going to help with our junior high
Cool.
program.
That's good. That's great.
And we're excited because if you talk about a guy that can build relationships with kids,
Yes. For sure.
He's one of them, man, and so he's going to really help be a big part of our junior high football, and he's going to be a big part of our basketball program. So
Okay, and then I'm going to leave you with this, Coach. This is one of the questions I want to ask you, because this is one I personally had for a while now. I was just thinking about it while you were talking there, and like I mentioned to you earlier, of course, the guys that are Luling grown. Cliff Hill and Lyndon Hamilton are over there in Gonzales now, and then we don't exist right now if it's not for Emilio Sarge Juarez and then a guy that knows Coach Garza very well. But that's Amado Galvez over there in Lockhart. So what I wanted to ask you, at one point, and I know the size of the school might have something to do with it, but and I know the schedule is set for the next 2 years, but like maybe after this next 2-year window is a possibility that we could see a return of a rivalry like Luling Lockhart rivalry or Luling Gonzales rivalry that was so popular when I know back when we were in school, it was always the game. I know that I can only remember how many times we went down there to Gonzales, and it was, packed, stadiums packed, and then, you either got up for that, what is it, Apache Warham or whatever they call it, or, you got up for the Luling Eagle fight song.
Yeah.
So could you?
I can tell you. So I'll give you a great example, right? Because the whole Tech UT thing's going
Yes,
on right
yes,
now,
sir.
right? And
Yes, sir.
Tech wants to play UT,
Yeah.
but UT, it's kind of like it's a lose-lose for them,
Yeah.
right? If you beat them, you're
If you-
supposed to beat them,
And if you lose,
and if you lose, you know, so it's a lose-lose to them.
Right.
And like for Gonzalez and Lockhart, I don't mind,
Right.
playing those,
Right.
at all. In fact, I think it'd be great for the community, great for
Yes, sir.
and
Absolutely,
it would be great if we could do it around one of the events that we do, like
Right.
downtown.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Like
Yeah.
you leave the game and
Yeah.
go downtown,
Right.
man.
Come and take it,
you
for
know,
example, because
like,
that's
yeah,
theirs is during football season.
And so I just do we have an event during football season? I know we do the crawl. When's the crawfish?
I guess we do I guess
That's
no,
spring.
that's in March. Yeah.
Yeah.
Night No Luling would probably be the only thing because that's in
That's in October.
second week of October. So that'd probably be the only thing.
And then that would kind of be deep into your district, But
right.
for me, like I don't mind, And there were some schools that I reached out to that I felt like were rivals that I tried to get, and for them it was like no, but for a lot of those schools,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
like.
I might have to check you out now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm
Well,
just about done.
I'll
Yeah.
finish this. Yeah, for those schools like Gonzalez and Lockhart, it's kind of a lose-lose for them. If they beat us, they're supposed to beat us. If they lose to us, then it's really, really bad. And
Right.
but I don't mind. But I mean, you got to see it from their perspective too.
Yes, sir. Right,
Like,
right.
For me, I'm all in. But if I were in their shoes, would I be all in?
a bigger school.
Yeah, it's like I'm
Yes, sir.
supposed to beat you.
Yes, sir.
But then again, look, we're playing.
Because
bigger
if you,
schools too, though.
but like it's not a rivalry.
Yeah.
But then like if the guy, and I'm not trying to, let's say Mavis was there because he's a buddy of mine, but
Right. Mhm.
if he were to lose to Luling, like people were wanting his job.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's kind of you got to look at it from those perspectives of.
Yeah, but if you beat him, you can move up somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I love
I'm
these
just saying
kids,
that,
man.
but,
These kids are awesome, and so, but yeah.
Okay, well, I just had my oil change here, and they're wanting me to go sign paperwork, so I'm gonna have to cut it there. But thank you, Coach Granado, for taking your time to come out here and interview with us today. So I feel like we got a lot out of here. So but we'd definitely like to have you back on when it gets closer to the season starting, and talk a little bit about what's happened between now and then, and then we can see go from there.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate y'all doing
All right.
what y'all do.
Yes, sir. So again, that's Coach Jeremiah Granado with Luling Independent School District. He's the head football coach, athletic director. So thank y'all all for joining us all day long. The sponsors that we have on LESB, those are the ones we had from last year. They're out to the bottom left corner of your screen. So thank you. Shout out to all of them. I did want to mention Greg Tracy's, now it's called Luling Appliance Rescue and Resale. He's actually had a change to it, so I didn't want to mention that. But other than that, everything is good, and we'll be back here with you soon, and we'll keep you updated on everything, and we'll try to have Coach Granado on again and talk some more.
Absolutely.
All right, Coach. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.